Hello and welcome to episode 48 of Let's Run Facebook Ads, the podcast with me, Nick Boddington. Today I'm going to introduce you to Facebook's ad relevance columns and explain how to read them, which when you start using this method, you will see your ads transform massively and it will give you huge insights into how your ads are engaging with the audience. Also remember, if you're a business that is struggling with your ads and you're not making the money you want, then come and check out the Ads Clinic. You can start by coming on a free 30-minute call with me, where I'll dive straight into your ads and see how we can fix them together. Just go to theadsclinic.com. That's theadsclinic.com, where you'll see my calendar to schedule a call. Now let's get straight into this podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's podcast. Now, I am going to discuss with you and talk to you about the ad relevance columns. Now, these aren't that new to Facebook, but they aren't very well used and they are really, really good. In fact, they're brilliant for understanding how your ads are working. So the first thing you need to do is get these columns set up before we go into what they mean. So I want you to go into your Facebook and I want you to go into your ads manager, and in the columns on the right hand side, hopefully you've got them set up by lead gen or econ with all the columns set up so you can get the data you need. But underneath, if you go to customize columns, a box come up, and then in that box, type in quality and you'll get the quality ranking. In fact, if you type in ranking, you'll get all three of them. Okay, so I've just literally typed in rank into that box and it's come up with quality ranking, engagement rate ranking, and conversion rate ranking. Now, save to present, call your columns what you want to call them. I'm on an ecom one, so I've called it ecom, and then apply. Now, what this will do is bring them up into your columns. Now, if you go to the ads you're running, you should see your quality, engagement rate, and ranking, conversion rate ranking. Now, the weird thing is here. Now, Facebook tells us, and I don't have the answer to this, so don't question me. Facebook tells us that it will start showing this once an ad has had 500 impressions. Now, as I'm looking at this, I'm looking at a client who's got quite a considerable budget, and not all of their ads are showing it. And I know that some of these ads have spent hundreds of pounds, if not thousands, had plenty more than 500 impressions. They're in the thousands, tens of thousands impressions, and it's still not showing. So I apologize for that. That's not my fault. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just delivering a message for you. But a high proportion of my ads do show me the different types of rankings. So let's go into these rankings. Well, let's have a little bit of an overview over Facebook. You and I are advertisers, and Facebook needs us. I mean, the incident they had the other week where Facebook and the whole world of Facebook and WhatsApp all went down for the evening, that cost them about 40 billion. So they do care about money. So they care about the advertisers because we're the ones that give them money. But who do they care more about? They care about the users, the people like you and me who are using Facebook to search, to look through our feeds and see what our friends are doing, et cetera, et cetera. Now, Facebook is in one big competition with the other social networks. And that competition is who can keep a user on their platform for the longest. And how do we keep someone on a platform? Well, we make that platform engaging. If Joe Blogs is on Facebook or on Instagram, and they're going through it and they're looking at different videos and seeing what their friends are doing, and they're seeing different types of content that Facebook has put in front of them as relevant and engaging, it keeps that user on for longer, which is why things like reels and videos and things like that work so well, because it makes the consumer engage and they can't put their phone down. They just keep on flicking through all this type of content. Now, what we have to do is keep that in mind for ourselves, because if we're going to start putting ads out, we need those ads to be engaging for the audience. Now, what happens if it's not engaging for the audience? Facebook does a really, really nifty little thing and puts our prices up. You then turn around and say, Facebook ads doesn't work for my business, and you find another channel to advertise to. But if you'd understood the relevance and the quality rankings and why your ads need to be engaging, your prices would come down. So if Facebook starts seeing that the quality is good and the engagement rate is good and the conversion rate is good, and all these have got a big green tick, then Facebook is going to reward you because it's going to start wanting to show your ad to more people, which means your CPM, your cost per 1,000 impressions, starts coming down. And then people start clicking through. And the more people click through, because it's engaging with more people that Facebook wants to show it to, which means your click-through rate comes down. And then the more people go into your landing page or your website means that you're more likely to get more orders. So all in all, it's a win-win. You're happy because you've got engaging people coming through to your website, and Facebook's happy because you're keeping them on the platform and making them engage with the platform and staying on it. So that leads us into these different columns. We have quality ranking, we have engagement rate ranking, and we have conversion rate ranking. Now, where you need to see these, you will not, when you're in your columns in Ads Manager, you won't see them inside campaigns or ad sets. You need to go into the ads area where you have built your actual ads, as in the creative and the copy. That's where these columns sit. Now, we have a below average, an average, and above average. Now, those are the rankings that they give us. Apart from in the below average, it actually does drop down to the bottom 10, 20, and 30%. Not a place that you really want to be. So let me just explain what Facebook says. Quality ranking. A ranking of your ads' perceived quality. Quality is measured using feedback on your ads and the post-click experience. Your ad is ranked against ads that competed for the same audience. Now, that doesn't mean it's your competitors. It means that other people are other businesses of all different sectors might be trying to get to your same audience. Now, it's not on the money they're spending. Now, what we also always say on our Facebook chats, and we said this at a show the other day when we were talking, it's a level playing field, which means even if you've got really, really deep pockets, you can still beat those competitors with the deep pockets by making your ads relevant and engaging to the audience. Facebook will see this because, remember, it's not just about the money you're putting in Facebook pocket. If it was just about the money going in their pockets, they'd prioritize all the big spenders. But that's not going to help people keep to the platform, because trust me, we work with a lot of big businesses and a lot of them really don't have a clue what they're doing. So this is really your time to shine and beat the competitors and the people that you see are big on the platform, and put some really, really compelling, good content out there. So engagement rate ranking, a ranking of your ads' expected engagement rate. Engagement includes all clicks, likes, comments, and shares. Your ad is ranked against ads that competed for the same audience. Again, and then we have the conversion rate, a ranking of your ad's expected conversion rate. Your ad is ranked against ads with your optimization goal that competed for the same audience. Okay, so there's a little bit of explanation. The quality ranking is what your ad is looking like. Okay, so if I go on to, if we look at this, how your ads perceived quality compared to ads competing for the same audience. So what can you do about the quality ranking? Okay, so what we want to try and do is get it to average. Now, when you're looking at, if you're seeing your ads at below average, average or above, if you're already at average, don't have a massive stress about getting from average to above average. The biggest thing I want you to do is, if your ads are on below average, is get from below average to average. Okay, so if you are seeing average in quality ranking, average in engagement ranking, but your conversion rate is below average, then you need to improve the call to action of your post or post-click experience, or have a look at the higher intent audience. So what tends to happen with ours, and we see this because we're creating some really, really good content with our clients, and we're always getting, well, not always, most of the time we're getting an average or above average for the quality ranking and engagement rate ranking. The conversion rate ranking is usually what stings us, which means that we either have to look at the type of landing page. Is the flow of the landing page right? Are the buttons in the right place? Or are people bouncing off straight away, which is telling Facebook that people aren't going through? Because Facebook is going to measure, it's going to look at it and go, okay, well, I'm getting people going through, they're clicking the ad and they're going through to the destination. But once they get to that destination, is it easy to read? Are there buttons to click? And Facebook picks up on all of this. So that's when it starts bringing your rates to below average. Most of the time, I like to look at the audience. So the audience is that the ad for engagement and quality is working, but the type of audience that's coming in isn't buying, which means that you need to go back to the drawing board and test more things out. So you know that the copy is working and you know that the creative is working, but you need to start focusing on the audiences. And then you'll start seeing you just want to try and get that conversion rate above or to average. But at the same time, like with a lot of clients, not this, the client I'm using an example of looking at my screen now, if you are still making good money, don't get me wrong, always try and beat your current ad. Don't turn your ad off and try and beat it. If it's working, remember it's working. You don't have to lose sleep on it. We're still making this one particular client that I'm looking at. We're still making this client a lot of money. You know, for every £3,000 they spend, they're taking about 13 grand. So they are making good money, but we are still getting the conversion rate column is still saying the bottom 30%. So it's, you know, it's always we're trying to get it going better, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Okay, so let's have a look at the next column, which is the engagement rate ranking. So this is what Facebook has said. So let's just repeat what Facebook said. This is engagement, including all clicks, likes, and comments and shares. Now, because we're running ads, you know, clicks is a very, very high measurement for us. Now, both based on the sort of things we're doing, we're looking for a click-through rate. Now, the average click-through rate is 1%. What I want you to try and do is get your click-through rates into the high 1.9%, into the 2s, 3s, or even 4s. Like we see some ads which are getting 4 to 6. Now they're getting an amazing engagement rate, which means they're going to be in the above average. That's absolutely fine. If you're trying to send it out for engagement, you're getting likes and shares and you're in the above average, that's absolutely fine. So that's a really, really good measurement of how to do things. Now, when you're trying to get where Facebook penalizes you is when you're putting out clickbaity stuff. So if you're using headlines or text in your copy that is sending someone through to your landing page, and what you're trying to do is basically do a bit of a clickbaity, which is, hey, click here if you want to win £5,000 a day or whatever, you know, really bad example. I'm just off the bat, I haven't really got any examples at all. But you want to look at, I'm sure most of you know what clickbait is. You need to have a headline and copy which is actually relevant to where you're sending people. If Facebook sees that there's no relevancy there and you're just basically trying to get people to click through and then hope that they do something on your website, Facebook's going to penalize you for that, and it's going to give you a low engagement rate ranking, and that's not good at all. So you really need to not try and get people through. You need to always have on your mind that you're trying to get into an audience, you're trying to get a consumer on Facebook to see your ad, and the ad is relevant to that consumer, it's helping that consumer, you're providing a solution, and when that consumer clicks through, it actually takes them to a destination page that is relevant for them, and try and continue that whole journey. For instance, an example of an e-commerce site is you might be selling some black jeans. Now, if you're using a carousel or something on your ad, which means that someone can see the front, they can see the back, they can see the leg, they can see a model wearing them, and they've got a nice little catalog of those black jeans. If you're then sending them straight through to a homepage of your website, and that consumer then has to look for the black jeans, you're going to get a bad conversion rate ranking, which means, you know, Facebook has seen that you're sending them to a destination that just isn't relevant. Yes, it's your website and it's a good website, but it's not kept that path open. You've not created a nice funnel or conveyor belt which holds the consumer's hand to where you want them to go. So all these things you need to look at all these different areas to try and get a true understanding of how your ads are working. Now, if you go into your ads, like we go into, obviously, this is what we do every day, and we spend a lot of time making sure the ads and the setup and all the copy and everything is exactly how we want it to be. A lot of the time we are always in the average or above average, but as I said, the conversion rate ranking on this particular client is below, but we're usually there and we can usually get things going the way we want to because that's what we're doing every day. I'm hoping that you guys can go in and actually see your ads are in a really good place. But don't worry if you're not seeing these quality ranking columns filling up. If you're running a number of ads, you will see them in there. But unfortunately, I don't have the answer as to why some don't show any information. Because as I'm looking at this ad manager right now, some of the ads aren't showing. They have orders. They've taken thousands of pounds in revenue, in add to carts, things like this, but they're not showing any quality rankings for these columns, which is a bit frustrating, but it's unfortunately, we just have to work through something. It could be something to do with, because we're moving a lot of our stuff into Google Analytics for our tracking and things like this from Facebook, because Facebook's just having problems here since iOS 14. It's having a lot of problems tracking. Now, well, I'm not going to go into an iOS 14 conversation about this, but we're not seeing really bad things happening with it. Apart from the tracking, we're having to make some decisions away from Facebook based on what we're doing in Facebook. We're not seeing huge drops. So, don't put the frighteners out. You might also be hearing that people are talking about the high costs at the moment with CPMs and click-through rates and things like that. Again, we're also not seeing this. We're still seeing some really good cost per clicks and things like that. And I think it is because we spend so much time making sure that the messaging that we're sending out to people is good for our clients. And because it's resonating with the audience and we're paying attention to these columns, excuse me, it means that we're getting the lower costs on Facebook. Many, many, many people, we talk to a lot of people who come on from consultancy and clients, are literally getting something, thinking it's okay, and just literally sending out to Facebook. And then they may get a couple of orders, but it's not enough. They're not hitting their targets and they turn it off and say Facebook didn't work. You need, the part of you guys listen to this podcast is to educate you on all the different things that we do as an agency to help you as a business owner push your brand forward, create revenue for brand, and grow. We're all here to advertise on these sort of channels, get it right, and then scale so we can build our businesses and grow our businesses. So that's it for this podcast. I hope that helped on the ad relevance ranking. So just to repeat, I want you to go into your columns and I want you to type in ranking, and you'll come up with 3 ranking: quality, engagement, and conversion. Add those to your columns, save your columns, and then go into your ads for the campaigns where you build your creative and your copy, and you should see that starting to pull through. Now, remember, if you have just set up an ad, it isn't going to show through just yet. You need to start getting some data on it, but it's a really good way of seeing how your ads are performing. And if you can get those into average as a minimum, you're going to start seeing some really, really good costs across Facebook. I hope that helps. I hope you took some learnings from this, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.